We're here with redshirt sophomore Brian Orr for our Golf Weekly press conference. Brian, you were the best Red Hawk finisher at the Colleton River Collegiate, closely followed by Patrick Flavin. What were you able to do on the course to help put yourself and the team ahead?
I think I was just at a really good spot mentally throughout the week. That's something I kind of struggled with during the fall. I had these high expectations and put myself down when I didn't reach those expectations. But this week, even when I hit a couple rough patches, like on 17 and 18, played those holes 6 over par and struggled a bit, I try to keep a positive attitude and just trust my own skill set and ability to bounce back and just play better throughout the round.
What did you find to be the most challenging part of the Pete Dye course?
Pete Dye is just a tough golf course. The layout and just how it looks visually can be very tough, and it tests your mentality and your guts, and just to trust yourself and have some confidence while hitting some shots. I think that was most tough about the course.
What is your outlook for the team moving forward into the rest of the spring season?
I'm excited for the team. I think we're heading in the right direction. We didn't perform as well as we would have liked this past tournament, but there's a lot of positives to get out of it, and we have a great couple weeks at Pinehurst for spring break to compete and just carry ourselves with an air of confidence and trust ourselves to play well, trust our ability, and just be confident.
We are here with head coach Zach Zedrick for our weekly golf press conference. Coach, what do you think of the team's overall performance at the Colleton River Collegiate?
There were definitely some good. I think especially the first day, the golf course itself is difficult. If it's 75 and sunny with no wind and it's soft, like it's a good test. But firm, windy. Like I said last week, there's they renovated the greens, and when greens are kind of newly renovated, they're very firm, and that was the case. They putted great, but they're firmer greens make it more difficult. And I thought overall, just the attitude and mentality on the 36-hole day was very good, because there's definitely, from a scoring standpoint, it was a little up and down, but you wouldn't tell that if you were just watching the guys out there, which is a big thing we're trying to improve upon this spring. I was really proud of Greg and Brian and Pat and the way they held it together. I think they came down there with a lot of confidence, and there were maybe a phase of the game for each of them was maybe just a little off, and at a place like that, it's hard to score. And to have, Brian finished 10th, Pat 11th, and Greg was a shot out of the top 25. He finished 26th. If you have three guys play like that at a tournament, you're pretty well positioned to finish pretty high, third or at worst fourth. Cam Solomon in the afternoon, he struggled a little in the morning on the 36-hole day on Monday, and then bounced back with 72, and we really needed it because we were on track for kind of a big afternoon, and him shooting even par in probably the toughest conditions of the week was great. We just need more consistency, I think overall, for sure, Colleton River is a place where it can be easy to be a little indecisive and not committed to what you're doing, and we definitely, I think, across the board experienced that a little bit. But really, if we could find a fourth score in that first and third round, it's a much different week. It's a third or fourth place finish probably. We just can't count scores in the 80s. I wish there was a way, a nicer way I could put it, but you can't sugarcoat it. You just can't count scores that high, and we did.
How did the competition affect the performance of the team, if any?
Our guys are doing a better job, I think, of really trying to focus on themselves. I think that's part of the reason why Pat and Brian and Greg, held it together and were as consistent as they were this week, because that's something that they, I think, have improved on the most out of anyone on the team, is really just kind of putting the blinders on and just going out and playing. Because ultimately, golf's a game. We can't play any defense. It's oftentimes, I was having a conversation with one of our other guys about it, really the tournament, especially stroke play, the tournament's against yourself, and it's against the golf course, and it's how good can I play? How well can I play? Can I be my best today? And just trusting that your best is good enough. So I think there's times when we start to struggle a little bit where we start to think about, well, is this score, how is this going to affect the team score? How is this going to, are we going to move down, or, stuff like that you just don't have any control over. So I think it's more something like internally, like individually, we need to improve on a little bit. It's not that the actual teams that were there, we were thinking about them. It could have been any grouping of teams in the country. It's just when things get a little sideways, we tend to start thinking about those things that we can't control.
What is your outlook for the team moving forward into the rest of the spring season?
I'm excited. I think, we've had good overall, really two solid performances from our top three players, which you've got to have that. We've seen some bright spots from some of the younger guys. And I think what's good is sometimes it can be difficult to figure out, hey, what exactly do I need to work on? What exactly do I need to focus my energy on? And I think, everyone, even our guys that are playing really well right now, know like, hey, here's an area where I can improve a little bit, and we have time to do it. We don't compete again until the end of March, beginning of April. We've got spring break. We've got a great trip lined up down to Pinehurst, and so we've got 2 weeks of practice and a lot of competition to improve those things and get ourselves ready for the stretch run.